The views and opinions expressed in the following program are those of the hosts and guests, and not necessarily those of the staff or management of Worldwide Digital Broadcasting Corporation.
Hot topics, food, fun, entertainment, and serious business. Live Las Vegas with Rikki Cheese.
Okay, I always say the same thing at the start of every show. I love my guests. I'm very excited, but this time I'm really excited because I am a huge fan of this man, Derek Stevens, who is just turning downtown just upside down, doing incredible things, owner of the D, and pretty much half of Fremont Street these days, and working his way into just buying the whole place up. Thank you for being my guest today.
Rikki, thanks for having me on.
Yeah. Well, you were just telling me, can you talk about this secret deal that you have a meeting after this that you're gonna maybe work on something? Can you even talk about it?
Oh yeah, no, this is great. I like I was just mentioning outside, I'm excited. I'm going from right from the studio here. I'm going over to the Golden Knights headquarters, and we've got a good meeting over there. And for the D and for the Golden Gate and our new property, I'm excited about working with the Knights. Like I think like a lot of guys in town, how great is this that we're having our first major league professional team coming to Vegas, and it's so close.
Yeah. And you just had a big event too. The old courthouse you tore down, you turned it into the downtown Las Vegas Event Center, and I've actually been to a couple of different performances out there. What a great open air venue.
It was terrific. Yeah, we just finished up Las Rages, our first festival, heavy metal festival. I think there was like 19 bands.
You had Anthrax.
We had Anthrax and Godsmack and Avenged Sevenfold, Breaking Benjamin. It was terrific. It was our first time doing it. We partnered with Live Nation. They helped us out, and boy, what a great first year festival that was.
Right. Yeah, it really did. Now let's take people back. Your concept, as far as I see, is actually just turning downtown Las Vegas into one big block party. I mean, that's kind of what I see. You're underneath the Fremont Street experience, but like the event center is outside of the Fremont Street experience, so it's not just under the canopy where your properties are. You have more of a, give us an idea of your vision for just downtown in general.
Well, you know what ended up happening at my first casino, which was the Golden Gate, we decided to ask to put a bar outside. And when we did that, we went to the city, and we were looking to put out this application. Well, the response was kind of funny. He's like, no one's ever asked to do that before.
Right.
So we put this permanent bar out there, and all of a sudden, people start showing up, and people are out walking around and having fun, and then obviously you can tell it's kind of proliferated all over. But I think it's great because it's created this just phenomenal street atmosphere 7 days a week, and so many people like being outside and looking at all the lights, and they're just in awe and wonderment. It's a lot of fun.
Right. So how did you get started? You're from Detroit. I remember when you first put the wrap and you named it's the old Fitzgerald's,
right,
which was historic in Las Vegas because he was the first African American owner, and then he passed away, and then you named it the D. And I was like a lot of locals who were like, what kind of name is the D? So now, of course, the D has become iconic, but in the beginning, it was sort of like, what kind of name is that? And the D is like a triple acknowledgement.
Well, that's true. It is. When we were going to buy Fitzgerald's, we actually never bought that name. That name didn't come with the purchase.
Oh, really?
So we knew we were going to rename it, and I wanted to anyway because I wanted to completely renovate it. All 34 stories, new rooms, suites, and everything like that, new casino, and we spent some time trying to figure out what to name it, and we didn't have a big focus group or anything else like that. We just thought, well, it's going to come to us over the next few months, and it did, and it really stood for three things. Number one, 2012 was the year of downtown in Vegas, so that was the one element. The second one was everybody's always calling me, and all my buddies just call me D. I'm going over to D's place, so that kind of played into it. And then lastly, for my brother and I, we're from Detroit, and it's not a Detroit-themed casino in any manner, but it's just kind of a tip of the cap to our hometown where we came from.
Yeah, so you guys came out here in 2008?
Yeah, 2008
Right.
is
Yeah.
when we got licensed at the Golden Gate, right?
So now you grew up in the family business.
Yeah.
And then what made you decide? And then actually you bought part of the 51s, which then you sold.
Right.
But what was it like when you were a kid? Were you thinking someday I'm going to go to Vegas? I mean, where did this thought process
No,
start?
you know what happened was I came out here for trade shows, and I came out here for fun, and these were the best trade shows, so this is where I had the most fun,
Right.
and the thing that I really loved is I loved everybody I met in Las Vegas. It's a little bit different. And it starts even before you get here. There's a certain energy on a plane. You know, when you're flying, it doesn't matter if Chicago or Dallas or Detroit, you're flying in on a Thursday night coming into Vegas. At the moment you see those lights, all of a sudden you could feel the energy on the plane starts to lift. It starts to pick up. Everybody's excited. And I know there's an old myth that casinos pump oxygen in, which isn't true, obviously, but it's just the natural adrenaline. People are just excited to be here. And to be honest, I kind of got addicted to it. I loved it, and then one thing led to the next, and we ended up buying in some businesses here.
Oh, and the funny that my Detroit story was I went to a conference in Detroit, and I had never flown back to Las Vegas on a weekend night.
Okay.
And I came in on Southwest on a Friday night. I said, never again. Never again. I mean, the cabin, people were yelling and screaming, and I thought, this is like the party before the party. And I
Right.
heard about it, but what you're explaining is like to experience that adrenaline and that excitement was amazing.
Yeah, we've gotten to be friends with quite a few flight attendants on Delta, and on those Thursday night and Friday night flights, they usually set their over/under on when the plane runs out of booze. It's usually around St. Louis.
Right, that's so true. All right, so let's talk about the properties that you own now. So you've got how many actual properties, and you just bought that big old chunk, so you actually own the city block.
Yeah, Golden Gate was our first baby,
right.
and then the D. We bought the downtown Las Vegas Event Center, which was the courthouse. So
Right.
we got that at the public auction, demolished that, and now turned it into something where people are attracted to. We're trying to throw events there.
Right.
And then now we've got a new project we're working on, which it started with the Las Vegas Club, and then kind of bought a couple other T-shirt shop here and there, mermaids,
Right.
bought the Glitter Gulch.
The Bayou thing.
Yeah, the Bayou and all that. So we got that city block. So that's what we're actively working on every day.
I'm just going to throw this out there. Do you ever see yourself just buying the Fremont Street experience?
Oh,
at
no,
this
no,
rate,
no,
you
no,
could just
no,
like
no,
own
no.
the whole thing.
No, the great thing about it is all the casinos we're a little bit different. I mean, we're competitors, but we're also partners. I mean, we actually own and operate the Fremont Street experience together, and I love the fact that I can be a partner with the Golden Nugget, a partner with Boyd and with Binion's Four Queens. I mean, everybody has different niche areas that they go after, and I think we all learn from each other. And no, I love it. I love being part of this group.
Right. And I know you and Carolyn Goodman, Mayor Carolyn Goodman, are just really, really tight. Every time I see her, she's singing your praises for some sort of thing. It's just, you obviously share that vision for what it can be and the success that you've already achieved. I mean, gaming revenues downtown are up.
Yeah, it's great. Gaming revenues have been up last few years, so that's good to see. And yeah, it's fair that the mayor and I hit it off pretty well. But it goes back to her husband, the former mayor. I mean, he truly was a great cheerleader for downtown, and he's met so many people in his career. I'd say, like, for me, he really had a big impact. Oscar really had a big impact on me, and I respect him as a legal mind, but I respect him as a businessman and as a lawyer just as much, because he really could bring the whole package to the table, and we hit it off real well.
How bad? Well, one of the things that you guys share is showmanship. When I would travel, once I got into TV news, and people would say, a mob attorney is your mayor.
Sure.
I said, well, yeah, but then we also had a car dealership owner, and we can go down the list. I mean, Las Vegas is not one of those things, but there's a perception that, like, Oscar is like running the whole town, because he sold Las Vegas, and that's what I've always loved about you from the very beginning, was you're selling downtown. It's you're living downtown. It's not just this thing for you. You have a passion for downtown, and I can see where you guys resonate with that.
Yeah, I mean, I love it. I mean, Oscar's passion is amazing, and if I could bring just a little bit of that to the table, I think I'm doing all right. But no, I love it downtown. I love the people I'm seeing. I love our regular tourists, and I love our regular locals. It's a great blend.
Right. Yeah. One thing I've noticed over the past few years too is newcomers to town, and I'm not sure if it's a demographic thing because I noticed it's mostly like they're like under like 30 and under. They don't want to go to the Strip. They think that downtown is much hipper than the Strip. Are you seeing that too?
I mean, I think you're seeing a much younger demographic downtown. I think it's broad ranging. I mean, I think downtown is not really in a certain age demo. I think it's pretty wide, and I think some of it has to do with the diversity of the offerings. I mean, you take a look at what's happening at a place like Gold Spike at midnight on a Friday.
Right.
I mean, you got a 2-hour line to get in. I mean, it's just it's just fun, the energy there, and you see what's happening along Fremont Street and all the new shows and all the characters and all the casinos and the ability to walk with your wife or girlfriend who's got high heels on without she can go. You can hit 4 or 5 casinos and get a drink and just have a lot of fun.
Right. And one of the things I love too about the D is just being there and just watching your tweet, because we're going to talk about your social media here in a moment too. You're just like king of social. But is the Long Bar sort of like the separate boardroom? I mean, it seems like you guys do a lot of thinking down there.
We do. I would say that's the creativity center. I would say it's in some ways. Yeah.
I see it a lot on Periscope.
Yeah, you never know.
Right.
You know, sometimes we're down at Long Bar and we don't need to write our own material. It just walks in the door.
I know, and I love your tweets. You've got like more than 20,000 followers on Twitter, and your wife's Twitter is hysterical too.
Yeah, she's pretty good.
She really works on social media. You guys have to. It's Nicole.
Oh no, her name is Derek's Nicole.
Derek's Nicole, right? You made that girl put on bunny's ears for Easter.
No, she did that herself. We were at the Miss D Bunny contest, and she put them on herself. I had nothing to do with that.
The things you do for love. Well, you're in the D2. There is something for everybody. I mean, you've got the Long Bar, you got the girls, outside doing their thing on the bar and everything. But you also have one of the best restaurants, as you said, in the country.
Yeah, I think. When you look at Andiamo at the D, I think it was the longest running #1 restaurant on TripAdvisor since TripAdvisor's inception. So it's a great restaurant and great for a special occasion and just a great meal. So
the expansion now we've got professional sports coming to Las Vegas, but it's on the Strip. What's the trickle down for downtown for your properties?
Oh, I think there's certain elements where I think what downtown how downtown's evolving, it's not just good for downtown, but it's good for Las Vegas as a whole, and it goes the other way as well. I mean, I think when you see, what happened with MGM and AG and their investment into T-Mobile, and then now what Bill Foley's done to bring the hockey team in, I mean, that's great for everything as a whole. I mean, I'm ecstatic, and I'm so appreciative of what MGM did in making that investment, because I mean, obviously they're doing it for the returns of their company, but how it impacts the whole, I think sometimes is something that's more important. I mean, I love what the LVCVA is doing with this new convention center expansion, and my thought is that as long as downtown can provide something unique and something special. Everybody's helping everybody else out here.
Right. And the Raiders coming.
Oh, yeah.
I sat next to some coworkers for a while. Thought, it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm so glad it's happening. Yeah.
Well, you've been in Vegas a long time.
Yeah.
I mean, heck, until a few years ago, I mean, it would be foolish to think that an NFL team was coming here. But
right.
Boy, it really happened quickly, and this is another great step forward for Las Vegas.
Right. I think it was like a change of management that kind of.
Yeah, I would say some of that had something to do with it. Yeah.
Right. The proliferation of gaming across the country has really changed everyone's perception of Las Vegas. We were talking about that just a few minutes ago. It's gone from people being very looking down on Las Vegas, like we were we should be ashamed because of gaming. But now that gaming has spread across the country, now it's like really exciting when people come in and they talk to you downtown. What are you hearing? What's that vibe?
Well, I mean, gaming. Yeah, I mean, you can go bet on a blackjack game, most people can. I mean, over what 60% of the people in the country live within 1 hour of a casino. A little bit different than in the 70s, 80s, and whatnot. I think the thing I like to focus in on is there's something special about downtown, and I'm not the biggest fan of using the word gaming. Mm-hmm. If you want to come in and have a good gamble, you can come into our place. Okay. So, we offer great odds, and I kind of like to focus on the word gambling a little bit more. And with all due respect to the Gaming Control Board, but now gaming has so many different connotations from, esports and other type of gaming, or other type of gaming has nothing to do with the gambling element. So I kind of like to use the word gambling a little bit more, and trying to use a little more in my normal vocabulary.
Well, I like it too that you held on to some vintage slot machines. My mother would be so proud of you. You can actually go and do old style slot machines on your second floor.
We do. We've got that. We've got this game that, boy, people just love it. That Sigma Derby. You remember that Sigma Derby? What was it? Was that on the Rockford Files or something? Or one of those TV shows way back when?
Right. Your perspective too on the cooperation between the bigger resorts and the smaller ones. I mean, I don't sense that there's any animosity or anything. You guys are all in it together. But what is that support structure like? I mean, are they coming downtown wanting to know what you need, or do you go out there and say, how can we help you?
Yeah, I mean, I think this goes back well before my time. But when you've got people that have spent time downtown, have spent time on the Strip. I mean, still in my regular board meetings at Fremont Street, I mean, we have to look up a bylaw, and you see Steve Wynn, Steve Wynn signed off on it, or Jackie Gaughan did, and Jack Binion or whatnot. But then you've got guys like Steve Wynn that did what he did, and obviously just so dramatically influential on our community. But always trying to make sure that there was a certain protection for all the different areas, and then what's grown from that is really what the Fertittas did with the stations properties. They've really become just so great from a local's perspective, that I think everyone really tries to support everyone else here, and that's one thing I really like about Las Vegas as a whole.
Yeah, and I love it that everything I've read about you too. This is like a favorite for writers. I'm not sure the TV people do it as much with the writers. Always call you the Steve Wynn of our time.
Oh, boy, no!
Isn't that great?
That'd make me blush. I'm not even close to that. He's a legend to me, and but I can tell you, I do have a lot of fun, and I do love coming in every day, and I just can't believe all these great people that come to Las Vegas and walk in our doors. A lot of days I go home, I can't believe I just met this guy, or I just met this woman. It's awesome.
Right. And you're, for me, as a local, you're a throwback to the days of, I was telling you, when I met Jackie Gaughan. And most of my colleagues were like, why are you so excited about meeting Jackie Gaughan? For a local kid, Jackie Gaughan from our day was like the Steve Wynn of his time. Yeah. And Benny Binion, the Binion family, and the Fertittas' dad, who started Palace Station, which has now spawned this incredible. But you guys as single owners, does that make a really big difference? Because you don't have to go to a corporate board. You don't have to ask anybody else's permission. You can go to the lawn bar and say, let's just try that.
Well, as you know, we do that often. Let's try this. Let's do it tomorrow. Let's do it tomorrow.
Yeah, this is true. Right.
There's some flexibility when you own your own business, right. And I think you're not the biggest, but you try to be creative, and the culture we're trying to breed, we try to have a lot of fun, both from everybody working there to everybody coming in the door, and I love the fact that. We try a lot of things. I strike out a lot. Believe me, I strike out a lot. We just don't. But sometimes we have a couple hits and we're like, right. Wow, I can't believe that worked. Let's keep trying it.
Well, I want to take a break to show that YouTube video that you did, that boardroom video.
Oh boy,
that is one of my favorites. Wait till you see this. I think my favorite. Well, there's like a lot of scenes in that one. I played it quite a few times. The little scantily clad girl behind you.
Oh yeah, well that could be. Yeah, that's right.
We'll be right back.
All right, Thanks for coming here to a special executive board of directors meeting at the D Las Vegas. I think we're missing somebody. Where's Coney D? Oh, Coney D!
I told you never to be late for an executive board meeting.
I've got some big news for everybody. We have now, there we go, thanks fellas. We have now signed the longest entertainment contract in the history of Las Vegas, in a 100-year entertainment contract, and our new entertainer is coming today. His forefather has worked for over 400 years in Belgium, but he will now be unveiled here today at the D Las Vegas. He's going to smile. He's going to bring tourists from far and wide, and they're all going to come to the D to come see it. All right, any questions, anybody? All right, we're on our way. All right, let's go.
That was amazing. That video was amazing. I think the girl dancing behind you, I really like that one. And then I liked it was like a security guard with his feet up on the table, and then the jugglers, and then somebody was getting a lap dance. It's like, right. This is fantastic.
And Coney D was late for the meeting. That's right. I'll still remember. Yeah.
All right. Where do you find time for social media? I mean, how do you do that?
You know what? I'm certainly not a social media expert. I just kind of tried. This is one of the things where just tried it out, and I had one day that I was at Long Bar, and I put out a tweet, and I don't remember exactly what it says. Come on down to Long Bar, and I think literally like 45 seconds somebody walked in the door and introduced themselves to me. I was like, whoa, is this pretty cool?
Yeah, yeah.
So I just kind of got into it, and I try to keep my stuff lighthearted and try to have a lot of fun with it.
Well, that's neat too, because I mean, even Steve Wynn, you had to make an appointment to see Steve. You couldn't just walk into his office, and he's not hanging around like on the downside of the floor of the Bellagio. But in your case, anybody could walk in at any time and maybe just kind of have a beer and hang out with you. I mean, that's got to be just way cool.
Kind of goes back to, I mean, when I bought the Golden Gate, and this is not an embellished story. I mean, it started with Nicole at the end of the bar along with me, and I'd walk out on Fremont Street and introduce myself, and I said, I own the casino. Can I buy you a beer?
Wow.
And we did that for about probably 3 or 4 years. Most of the time, people didn't believe me and hit the bricks. So you learn humility very quickly. But the guys that would come in, like, actually, they look around like, does he really own it? Yeah. Then we have a beer together, and next thing you know, you hit it off with somebody and you shake hands, and you know, a month later you get an email, and somebody says, hey, we had a great time that one night. I'm coming back in. I got 10 guys for a bachelor party. Can we meet up? And then, you know, we've got a corporate event. You want to come down? So it's just kind of one handshake at a time.
Wow. And here again, a throwback to Old Vegas, where you knew the cocktail waitresses, you knew the dealer. You could run into somebody who owned a property. You could meet Jackie Gone, because he would walk. I mean,
right.
He actually lived at the property.
Yeah.
So you could run into the people who actually owned it, and it was like not a big deal.
Right.
You know, it's like sort of like, this is my house, and one of the iconic ads, and I know you saw this, was the one with Steve Wynn with Frank Sinatra. Yeah, that was like so great. It's like, you know, take care of this for me, my man.
Right, that was a great one. Yeah.
So are you going to do commercials like that?
Oh, I don't know about that. I don't know that I have those type of skills. I'm good at 144 characters or less, I guess.
But also, it just seems to me, and tell me if this is a correct, you know, my perception. You're not building your properties around like headliners per se. It's not like this is, even though you do have, you know, like there's people who come in and perform, but it's more of an overall experience, not just coming in for any one thing. You want people to actually experience all sorts of different things on your properties.
Yeah, I mean, I think we're a little bit unique in as much as it's a two-story casino, and we have a little more of the vintage feel and the vibe upstairs, and we've got the restaurants upstairs, sportsbook and keno and all that, and then downstairs you just get blasted with all kinds of music and dancing girls and sports all over the place. So we kind of try to create something where everybody can have a lot of fun.
So now tell us about your personal life. Go ahead and share. You and Nicole have been together how long?
Well, all right, we're digging in here. I'll tell you, we met first day of first grade.
No way.
First day of first grade.
Wow.
Now, we went through grade school. We went through high school. I went to college. She went to college. Kind of came back together about 20 years ago.
Wow. So, was there a vibe in first grade? Did you have that, someday she'll be mine?
Well, I don't know. Those girls in little Catholic grade school had to wear those little Catholic grade school uniforms, were tugging on those skirts all the time. I can't say that.
Yeah, right. And your brother, how involved is he in the business? I just read that he was into engineering, and he's not really out there like you are.
No, but my brother spends a lot of time either on the roof or in the basement. He's a designer. He's an engineer. He's been my partner in every business that I've had in my life, and he and I get along. Great. I rely upon him an awful lot, and I think goes back, the same way to me.
Right. Dogs, cats, kids.
Yes, I have a dog. My dog's name is Winston. And Winston lives at my daughter's house.
Right. So I would assume that you don't have a whole lot of time. You have a lot of kids, just one daughter.
No, I've got my oldest is a host here at the Golden Gate and the D. My middle child, my son, he is a junior at Georgetown, and my youngest is a freshman at Georgetown.
Wow. So do they get to come out here very often? And
yeah, they do. They play sports there, so their schedule's a little tight. But they get out here once or twice a year, and I get out to see them in D.C. a little bit.
I just watched this story, and if you could please repeat it, your first trip to Las Vegas.
Ooh.
Yeah. My
very first trip to Las Vegas. I came with a buddy of mine who's actually today president of one of my companies in Detroit.
Wow.
And we drove from L.A., and we wanted to come to Vegas. I got to be careful here. I don't want to incriminate myself, but
the statute is passed.
Yeah, we weren't 21 years old, I can tell you that. But we bellied up at the Dunes Hotel, and I think he had something like $22 on him. I had about the same. And we stopped and got a book, and we figured out how we were going to beat roulette on the way to Vegas.
Right.
And ironically, we played a little bit of roulette. I think we won $18, and as soon as we won $18, we ran straight to the front desk and bought another night.
Wow!
And then we just had a great old time. So that was my very first experience in Las Vegas.
Have you seen all of the natives bemoan the loss of the dunes and Landmark, all of the properties that were imploded? Do you have that attachment to it, or did you come into it at a time where the modernization of Las Vegas had already begun?
I think no. I mean, I stayed at the dunes. I mean, I stayed at the Sands, and I never stayed at Landmark, but I visited many times.
And the Riviera used to own part of it.
Yeah, stayed there many times, and I would say the one great thing about Vegas is how it always learns to renew, and I've always believed that the history is something that we need to revere and remember and have these fond memories of, and make some connection to it. We don't want to lose it, but still today you've got modern amenities that are needed. You got to be able to have a hotel that has Wi-Fi. Right. You got to be able to have a certain amount of power outlets in every hotel room. You've got to be able to have certain technology that's available. You need to have newer style restrooms and things that people want today. So I think as long as we remember the past and we kind of relish it and then we move forward. I'm good with that. So I'm one that I love Vegas history, and I think even in our projects, when we renovated the Golden Gate, my first real hotel I had, I'm like, oh man, there's a little bit of pressure on. I mean, this is 1 Fremont Street. This is the oldest building in Vegas, so we really tried to make sure we really showed off the history there while bringing in the modern amenities.
Right. And you talk about technology. I remember when Atlantic City was coming on, and there was like this big hue and cry that this was going to be the end of Las Vegas. What I saw, what my father and my mom were telling us was that no, they saw that it was going to train another generation of gamers. That it had to, as people were getting older, gaming had to spread to, because if you're, Atlantic City, Las Vegas, so you get them in Atlantic City, and everybody wants to come to Mecca. Right. So it ended up doing the exact opposite. It was that. What are you doing to specifically appeal to like another generation of gamers?
Well, I mean, I think we're starting to see every day, and I would say year by year, month by month, day by day, you're seeing new customers and having some different wants, different desires, different things that they're coming to Vegas for. I mean, I could truly say 10 years ago I could have never dreamed that someone would want to come to Las Vegas to ride dump trucks or to have other experices. I think an experience like what Topgolf did. How great is this for Las Vegas? I mean, there's no hotel rooms there necessarily, but this is great for Vegas. I mean, our customers love it, and I think all the customers of all the hotels love it. So I love as things change and what people want to do changes. I think we're just trying to stay kind of with what people are looking for. If
someone had told me even just a few years ago that non-gaming revenue would be so important, that people are coming here. When I was doing stories and I asked people like at the fashion show mall, why are you here? I'm here to go shopping.
Right.
You came from Minnesota to Las Vegas to go shopping. You've got the Mall of America there, but it's not just gaming anymore. People are coming to eat. They're coming to see shows. They're coming to go shopping and have these experiences that they can't have anywhere else.
Yeah, that's exactly right. I mean, from shopping to all the great restaurants, all these great headline shows, and then now Vegas with all these great festivals. I mean, I think Las Vegas is going to be the home of festivals in America.
Right.
And I think that's great. And then now we take it to the next step with what happened having all these college basketball tournaments here with T-Mobile and Thomas and Mack and at the Orleans. That's terrific. And then now we take the next step. Now we got hockey. And then we're going to go to the Raiders. So all additional reasons for people to come here.
Right. What is your next step now?
Well, we're actively working on this Vegas Club project, so that's what we're doing. We get to do that a little bit during the day, and then we get to have a lot of fun at night while still trying to run the business.
I was on an interview recently with Steve Wynn, and they were asking him, it always amazes me when people ask guys like you this question, when are you going to retire? Retire to what? And he was like talking about the drawings he's doing for his next property. Right. And Steve can't see, but that was it. But he was thinking, I'm a creative mind. What would I do if I were not creating something? And you have said that creating a business and growing a business is something that you just really love to do.
I love it. I don't know. I wouldn't mind going to play golf once or twice in the next year or so, but
you can go to Topgolf.
but Topgolf is right by speed, because that way I can still be on my cell phone and talking to people and having a drink. No, I got this next project, and we've put a great team together, and we're actively working through it, and like I said, we're having a lot of fun at downtown at the D and Golden Gate, and we're going to keep pushing it.
Right. How important has Tony Hsieh's investment in downtown been to the overall revitalization of downtown?
I mean, I think that's another element that within downtown, it all kind of plays together. I think early on, I reached out to Tony, and him and I, we hit it off real well. And if you remember back, maybe I'd say 5-6 years ago, people always said, oh, on one side of Vegas Boulevard versus the other, Fremont East versus Fremont Street. And I really didn't want things to go down that path. So, I mean, we actively work with them. I mean, we have our customers can go to all these restaurants on Fremont East. And Fremont East, people that come there, I mean, eventually they may want to gamble a little bit and pop in. So I think Fremont East and Fremont Street have actually kind of really come together, and I think it's been great. And obviously Tony's impact bringing all these Apple's employees downtown and what he's done. It's just terrific what he did.
I was intrigued by why even make that demarcation? Why it wasn't just all Fremont? Why did it have to be Fremont East? I mean, were you in on any of that?
No, I think that was a little before my time. I think it had to do with wanted to clean up the east part of Fremont Street, and they had some new zoning laws that Oscar helped out with quite a bit, and really helped kind of spur on an area that wasn't all that beautiful into something really special.
When I went to the downtown container park for the first time, and this was about maybe 4 or 5 years ago, and I just remember standing at the corner of Fremont and 9th going, if someone had said to me, when I was in high school, I'd be standing here and not get shot and not have a homeless person or, a hooker come up, I would never believed it. I mean, it's just a whole different experience. But still, I am the only member of my family, and we are all natives, right, who will go down to Fremont Street. Like, I've got 2 huge Akitas, and I'm always looking for new places to walk them. And one day it occurred to me, I could walk my dogs on Fremont Street. It's not under the canopy, but,
right.
Up and down.
Right.
And my siblings looked at me like I was crazy. They was like, well, why would you go down there? And I realized that for many locals, the stigma attached to downtown still exists. It's like they won't go downtown to even explore. And it's like, just come down with me and see.
Right.
Just leave Summerlin, leave, Centennial Hills, leave Anthem, and come down and see. And I love what you're doing because it's actually giving people the reasons to come down. And as we were talking, once I covered Fremont Street for New Year's Eve, that time, I did it for the next 5 years. I wouldn't even tell anybody what a great time it was, but my family wouldn't come down. There's still locals who have that, bad feeling about downtown, and I wonder why.
Well, I mean, I think Fremont Street had a bit of a lull that, when you develop a reputation, it takes a little while to overcome that. Right. But I think with what's happened, like you said, Container Park, and think about, we just got the Life is Beautiful lineup coming out, and think about all the areas you're walking around for Life is Beautiful, how impactful that is for, I mean, this is another thing, it's impactful for downtown, but it's impactful for Vegas as a whole.
Right.
I mean, there's a lot of hotel rooms that get sold. A lot of people are coming in to see these great acts and things like that.
Yeah.
So
the first time I went to Life is Beautiful, I decided that the next time I would stay at the El Cortez. It didn't make any sense to drive all the way back home.
Right.
But then I thought that's the beginning of the mindset. Like you said, Life is Beautiful. These different events are like your event center. The 2 concerts I went to, I was just like, who would have thought that in the middle of downtown Las Vegas we'd have this open air venue? Because you've got all the stages under the canopy,
right.
But that is just right there, and it's so user friendly.
Right, right. No, it's terrific. I mean, with all the boxing events and MMA events and food festivals and now music festivals, it brings so many people down. So it's been a lot of fun, and that's a good part of the reason why I'm trying to have so many different type of events to get a broad range of people to come down, because once they come down, they're like, oh boy, this is another great part of Vegas.
Yeah. Okay, let's talk about parking. There is that perception, and I'm one of them who says, it's so hard to park, and now that's been spending more time. It's really not that hard.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's quite as hard as maybe it used to be. I think there's a lot more parking here today than maybe there was even a couple of years ago.
Right.
And I also say there's something else that's changed. I mean, you got Uber and Lyft that have made things real easy. So I think that technology is helpful for all of Vegas.
Now, you're not on the timeline, so I'm not going to sit here and bug you about it, like your new project that you're working on, this whole block. But when can we maybe begin to see? I'm looking for a scoop here, guys.
Well, I'll give you a scoop. The scoop is our demolition bid packages are going out in the next couple of weeks. So I'd say before the end of the year, you're going to start seeing some changes on that block between Main and First and Fremont and Ogden. So.
And the signs are still hanging on. Are they going to go to the Neon Museum?
Well, every side has a little story to it. Every letter has a little story to it. So we'll certainly have some going there. We're gonna have a few going to a few different people, and we're trying to be creative. We're thinking about maybe one day we're gonna do the last night of the Power at the Vegas Club, and maybe we'll give away like an L and a C and to all the right people. We might have a slot tournament for everybody by the name of L and everybody by the name of C. That's a scoop too.
Really? So okay, now my real name starts with an L, and so my last name is with a C. So
well, there you go. I know you got the C. There you go.
And will we see any more I want to say this right so I don't get anybody mad at me. I wrote it down. Okay, forget it. The pissing man.
Mannequin Piss? Mannequin Piss LV.
Yes, I love that.
He's done such a great job. He's think about this. He's been working now for a year and a half. He's only had 2 days off, and it's just because it was too windy, right? He's still aiming to please, and he's doing a good job at it.
And there are people lining up to take their picture.
They love it, yeah.
I love that one.
Yeah.
Well, thank you very much, Derek Stevens, for being my guest here
Rikki,
and just bringing everybody up to speed and just letting me have a good time.
Rikki, thank you so much.
Great talking to you.
All right,
Thank
you too.
Thank you guys for joining us here on Live Las Vegas with Rikki Cheese. See you next week.